Y pues sí, totalmente estoy enojado, decepcionado con los jueces porque pues, no sé qué tipo de pelea vieron, la verdad. Creo que pues no sé de dónde vieron el empate. Y bueno, a final del día pues me quedo con un buen sabor de boca porque pude retener el título en mi primer defensa. No como uno hubiera querido tal cual la victoria, pero bueno, lo importante es que se hizo el trabajo y se logró lo que habíamos hecho durante el campamento.
Isaac Pitbull Cruz is leaving absolutely no doubt about what really happened in that ring. He has come forward with a chilling accusation that the referee didn't just make mistakes, he actively wanted him to lose. Cruz claims the official wasn't there to be fair, but to ensure his opponent survived the night at all costs. This isn't just a controversial draw, it's a robbery. And Cruz has brought the physical evidence to expose exactly how the system tried to break him. In a heated breakdown, Cruz explicitly claimed that referee James Green was suffering from a severe case of localism. For those who don't know, this is the boxing term for when an official favors the hometown or home country fighter. Cruz insisted that from the moment the fight started, the playing field was tilted against him.
Me dijiste ahorita que estás un poco enojado con la decisión, ¿por qué?
Pues porque no hicieron su trabajo tal cual los jueces y creo que se vio una vez más el localismo del referee porque fue lo que le ayudó. Y bueno, a final del día, pues siempre los referees en el locker room dicen una cosa y nunca de los nunca pues lo cumplen.
He pointed out a disturbing contradiction that happens all too often in high-stakes bouts. According to Cruz, the instructions given in the calm of the locker room were completely abandoned the second the lights went down. He argued that the referee had a double standard, strict enforcement for the Mexican fighter and a blind eye for the American. It's a heavy accusation, implying that the officiating wasn't just incompetent, but intentionally designed to protect Lamont Roach from Cruz's pressure. But Cruz didn't stop at verbal accusations. He showed the world exactly what that bias looked like on his own body. The most shocking moment of the post-fight exposure came when Cruz turned around. He invited the cameras to zoom in on the back of his neck, revealing significant swelling and trauma. This wasn't from a clean hook or a jab. This was the result of what Cruz describes as repeated, illegal rabbit punches. These are strikes to the back of the head near the brainstem, and they are banned in boxing for a reason. They can cause permanent, life-altering damage.
Hablando del referee, ¿cómo viste él cuando te quitó el punto y el trabajo que él hizo sobre 12 rounds?
Fue un trabajo muy limitado de parte del referee porque creo que se notó la preferencia de un solo lado y bueno, creo que pues el punto que él nos quitó creo que no tenía por qué haberlo quitado. Yo estaba dando el golpe en la zona permitida que era en la área del cinturón y nunca fue un golpe debajo del cinturón y creo que nunca le llamó la atención a Roach cuando él me estaba dando los golpes de conejo atrás y no fueron ni uno ni dos, sino fueron muchos golpes y creo que ahí hay videos donde se puede ver claramente pues los golpes creo que el round 4 o 5 cuando me quedé abajo y bueno, el Roach pues proyectó 3 golpes directos en la nuca y el referee ni siquiera le llamó la atención y le fijó la mirada, no hubo nada de soporte del referee, entonces muy reprobable esa parte del referee.
Cruz was incensed, claiming that Roach landed these dangerous shots not once, not twice, but repeatedly throughout the 12 rounds. In any normal bout, a referee would issue a hard warning or even deduct a point for such a flagrant violation of the rules. Yet according to Cruz, James Green stood by and watched it happen. He called the referee's performance reprovable, essentially saying the official failed in his primary duty to protect the fighter's physical integrity. It paints a dark picture of a fighter having to battle 2 opponents at once, the man in front of him and the man who is supposed to be keeping him safe. If the ignored rabbit punches were the physical evidence of bias, the scorecard was the mathematical proof. The controversy hinges on a pivotal moment in round 7. In the heat of an exchange, the referee stepped in and deducted a point from Cruz for a low blow. This is a game-changing call in a close fight. A point deduction doesn't just erase a round you might have won. It digs a hole that is almost impossible to climb out of against a defensive fighter.
Lamont se quejó mucho de cabezazos, de golpes ilegales. ¿Cuál es tu respuesta? Lamont complained a lot about low blows and just punches that shouldn't have happened. What's your response to that?
Pues creo que yo también, él no hizo una pelea limpia y creo que siempre se le tiene que pelear a un tipo de ese estilo igual, ¿no? Creo que si está ensuciando la pelea, pues nosotros no podemos ser limpios y nosotros siempre tratamos de que las peleas sean lo más limpios posibles para que no se tenga que perjudicar ni físicamente pues la salud del contrario, pero bueno, en este caso de tanto golpe que dio en la nuca Roach, pues ahorita yo traigo un poco inflamada esta parte, puedes ver aquí cómo está inflamada. Entonces pues ahora sí que tiene que haber ahí cartas sobre el asunto con el referee, ¿no? Porque no puede seguir permitiéndose ese tipo de pues de acciones hacia uno que viene de visita y pues que lo más importante que quede pues mi integridad física en juego.
Cruz was adamant that the punch was legal, striking right on the belt line, a borderline shot that usually warrants a warning, not an immediate penalty. He argues that this specific moment was the smoking gun of the referee's agenda. By taking that point away, the referee mathematically prevented Cruz from securing a unanimous decision win. When you look at the final scorecards, that single point looms large. It turned a potential victory into a frustrating stalemate, leaving Cruz with a draw on his record that he feels should have been another notch in the win column.
Question for each fighter, just one each. Lamont, congrats on a great fight. Isaac, saludos por la gran pelea. Lamont, do you want an immediate rematch, and how do you see why do you think you will win an immediate rematch in decisive fashion?
Of course, I think the best thing to do is move forward with an immediate rematch, and I would say on somewhat a level playing field. I don't know why they think that the judge or the ref was on.
Despite the rage directed at the officials, Cruz made sure to highlight his own evolution. For years, critics have tried to box him in as a one-dimensional brawler, a guy who just walks forward, eats punches, and swings wild hooks. But in this fight, Cruz flipped the script. He emphasized that he showed the world he could actually box. He used head movement, footwork, and tactical pressure rather than just blind aggression. There was a bizarre and memorable moment in the fight that perfectly captured this new confidence. In the middle of the rounds, Cruz actually stuck his tongue out at Roach. He explained later that this wasn't just disrespect, it was a message. Fans have started comparing him to the Dragon Ball villain Majin Buu for the gesture, but for Cruz, it was psychological warfare.
You boxed a little bit in the round, and then you took your tongue out. You were like, "Ah, ah, ah." Tell me a little bit about that moment. It reminded me of Majin Buu from Dragon Ball. Have you seen Dragon Ball? Because that's what a lot of people are saying online.
Ya ves que la gente es muy ocurrente y ahorita ahí andan muchos memes. Ahorita creo que es la imagen del día, pues de base yo creo de la semana y de mucho tiempo, ¿no?
He said, yeah, people online, are talking a lot about that moment in the fight. He's seen some of the memes that have been circulating online as well, and he gets a laugh out of that.
He wanted Roach and the judges to know that he wasn't hurt, he wasn't tired, and he was completely in control of the chaos. It was a flash of personality that showed he was comfortable even while allegedly fighting an uphill battle against the officials.
Outside of Lamont Roach getting hurt and getting caught slipping in the inside in the pocket trading early in the fight, outside of that knockdown, Lamont Roach beat Pitbull Cruz more convincingly and in better fashion than Tank did in all departments. Remember, a lot of people felt Pitbull beat Tank, which I completely disagree with that, but the point I'm making, it ain't like Tank smoked him. In fact, Lamont Roach beat Pitbull Cruz in a way better fashion in all departments. I mean, outside of getting caught with big shots, which if you're gonna box, you're gonna get hit, just like if you swim, you're gonna get wet. Remember, Lamont Roach backed up Pitbull Cruz. We never seen Pitbull Cruz go from fighting like Mike Tyson with a peekaboo style, everyone got a game plan until they get hit type of fighter, to Muhammad Ali type of fighter and Matador instead of a bull. Fly like a butterfly and sting like a bee type of fighter. Lamont Roach did that. He had Pitbull Cruz wanting to box on the back foot and he looked terrible. Lamont Roach had Pitbull Cruz tying up, throwing low blows just to catch a break like Zab did with Floyd. So what are we talking about here? Lamont Roach schooled him American style at the same time he whooped him Mexican style.
Of course, you cannot talk about Isaac Cruz without mentioning the ghost of his biggest rival, Gervonta "Tank" Davis. The media inevitably asked Cruz to compare the power of Lamont Roach to the devastating shots of Tank. Cruz's response was dismissive and cold. He acknowledged that Roach has a good punch, but he made it clear that it was nothing impressive or fearful. This comparison is crucial for the narrative Cruz is building. He has been in the ring with one of the hardest punchers in boxing history and survived. By downplaying Roach's power, he reinforces the idea that he wasn't struggling because of Roach's skill. He was struggling because the system wouldn't let him win. It frames Roach not as a dangerous conqueror, but as a protected fighter who needed the referee's help to survive 12 rounds with a monster. It's a subtle but effective way for Cruz to maintain his status as the superior fighter, regardless of what the official decision says. The outrage hasn't been limited to Cruz's camp. The internet exploded as soon as the decision was read. On platforms like Reddit and X, formerly Twitter, the debate raged instantly. While some fans argued that Roach outboxed Cruz, a massive wave of support backed Cruz's claims of a robbery. Threads were filled with clips of the point deduction and the rabbit punches, dissecting every frame of the referee's movement.
You know, and honestly, if you think it was a robbery, if you think Roach won, if you think Pitbull won, it really doesn't matter. Because one, the fight was trash, and number two, they're just even. They're on the same level. You know what I mean? So, you watch boxing to see who's better, all right? Between Cruz and Roach, they're on the same level, dog. And before I talk about my overall assessment of, let's just say, Roach, okay? Which Roach, he put on a decent fight. He definitely did. I love the check, left hook, and stuff like that. There was stuff I didn't like. But honestly, if anybody got robbed, it was probably Pitbull, because I'm going to stay consistent. Listen, with Roach and Gervonta "Tank" Davis, it was a draw, but if they counted the knee as a knockdown, then Roach would have won, right? I mean, just the math of it, right?
El mío, ¿no? Y pues sí, totalmente estoy enojado, decepcionado con los jueces porque pues no sé qué tipo de pelea vieron, la verdad. Creo que pues no sé de dónde vieron el empate. Y bueno, a final del día pues me quedo con un buen sabor de boca porque pude retener el título en mi primer defensa. No como uno hubiera querido tal cual la victoria, pero bueno, lo importante es que se hizo el trabajo y se logró lo que habíamos hecho durante el campamento.
Even the boxing media couldn't ignore the smell of controversy. Major outlets like Ring Magazine and DAZN reported on the contentious nature of the draw. One specific scorecard, an absurd 115-111 tally, was widely mocked as being completely detached from reality. When the media, the fans, and the fighter all align on the idea that something went wrong, it validates Cruz's anger. It transforms him from a sore loser into a victim of boxing politics, keeping his reputation intact.
And he did really well. There was a knockdown, legitimate knockdown, and there was also a point taken away. There was a knockdown of Lamont Roach, but there was also a point taken away, a bit controversially, from Pitbull Cruz, from a, kind of a ticky-tack foul with the rabbit punches. But here's my defense of this. Maybe he didn't deserve to lose a point there, but he probably deserved to lose a point for the intentional headbutt that he gave Lamont was around round 3. So either way, a point at some point would have had to have been taken away from Pitbull Cruz. I know Pitbull talking about his innocence after the fight. It's a bit hard to believe. At this point, we know what Pitbull Cruz is, and he's lost points in several other fights as well. So he does have a reputation to be a little bit of a dirty fighter, rough fighter. You get away with what you can, but you also can't complain about being punished when you do break the rules, if I can say that myself. So I think ultimately a point for something should have been deducted from Pitbull Cruz, and it was, and ultimately what the point was deducted for maybe was a little bit of a ticky-tack foul, but in the overall scheme of things, he's got to lose a point during that fight. He's doing way too much, especially early on when he's searching for the KO. Pitbull is the guy who's got one direction. He goes straight forward and comes to attack you, so he always makes for entertaining fights. Lamont's not really a runner himself, so he boxes well and he'll engage. And early on, that engaging actually was sending him backwards a lot because Pitbull's the stronger of the two. But like I said, once Pitbull Cruz started slowing down, I thought Lamont's boxing acumen, punch selection was really coming into play, and he worked himself back into the fight. Whether you think Pitbull won or whether you think Lamont won, I think you have an argument for both cases. And I don't think a draw is as controversial as it's being made out to be. I think the controversy of the draw is being made out because this is Texas. So sometimes because Texas had this reputation, now anything close becomes controversial. And of course, there's more gasoline put on the fire because, again, a close fight is always going to be controversial. Both sides are going to come out thinking they won.
So, where does this leave us? We have a fighter who feels he was targeted by a biased official, physical evidence of illegal blows that were ignored, and a point deduction that mathematically altered history. Isaac Cruz is taking a break to recover with his family, eyeing a return in early 2026, but the shadow of this fight will linger. It forces us to ask the uncomfortable questions about accountability in boxing. If a referee ignores dangerous fouls and alters the outcome of a fight, what are the consequences?
The ref was biased with Lamont Roach and Pitbull. Just like Steve Willis, I love him like a play cousin, he seemed to have been biased towards Tank when Tank took the knee. I think the ref for Eastside Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach was biased. And if he didn't deduct that point, if just the math of it, Pitbull would have won. So same idea for me, right? It was a draw, okay? But if he didn't just outright just win, not a hard warning, he gave him a warning or two, but a hard warning, like next time I'm going to deduct a point type of warning. He didn't do that. He just went to deduct a point. If he didn't do that, bruh, Eastside Pitbull Cruz would have won. So, I mean, if anybody was robbed to me, it was probably Pitbull. But the thing is, it was a close fight, and really, I really don't give a damn, as far as what that means when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta had a close fight with Pitbull too. And
Cruz might have left the ring with a draw, but in the court of public opinion, he seems to have won the argument. But I want to know what you think. Was referee James Green actually biased against Cruz, or was he just enforcing the rules strictly? And did that point deduction actually cost Pitbull the fight? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So, that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.